Chapter 6, Track Warrants and Bulletins. The rule of this chapter pertains to the orders and instructions governed by the track warrants and bulletins in Figure 5, shown in the example of a type of track warrant. Rules applicable within the track warrant control TWC limits Rule 400 to authority, where designated in special instructions, general order, and use of the main track will be authorized by issuance of track warrant under the direction over the signature of the train dispatcher. The track warrants are numbered consecutively from the beginning of each calendar date with the track warrant control territory. There is no superiority trains. Trains will not be authorized or train or order time schedule. Rule 401, designated limits. The limits of a track warrant and designated specifying track where the required exact points such as switches and main poles, switches and mile poles identify points. Station numbers station's name may be used, and the station name issued and designated for the first name point of the authority will extend to the last siding from a single and there is no siding. The station number is designated for the second named point, and authority extends for the first siding of the switch of the siding station siding on and there is no siding at. The second name of the point authority extends to the last siding switch of the specific instruction, including hold the main track at the last point in name. Rule 402, requesting. Personnel requests of a track warrant must advise the track dispatcher of the train movements to be made when applicable, the tracks to be used in time required. 403, a copying. The conductor and engineer must have the copy of the track warrant addressed to the train engine. The track warrant will show the date, location, name of the person who copied it, and specific instructions. All information are entered in the track warrant from provided repeated in train dispatcher. The dispatcher will check and the copy, and if correct, when given the OK time is entered in the track warrant repeated to the train dispatcher. The track warrant is not considered in effect until the OK time is shown in the track warrant. Restricts movement and authority previously granted. It is not considered in effect to the train dispatcher until a knowledge of the OK and has been received. The track warrants are relied authorized personnel who must record the message of track on a track warrant. For Rule 404, designation of trains and track over the track warrants and the track bulletins. Trains designated for the engine number, direction when applicable. The engine in another company is used and designed for initial and name of the company preceding the engine number. Rule 405, mechanical transmission. A point designated for the special instruction of track warrants and this is what a track warrant slip looks like. It goes the number, the name, the date, the tune, and the track warrant 1 through 17. Track warrant number is avoid, proceed, or check to proceed to on and on track, proceed from and to and on track, proceed work and on track. 5, not check if not an effectual until. Check the authority it expires. Check for not if it's effect until after the arrival of blank and at. Check 8. Hold main track is last pointed. Check 9. Do not follow the limits of head. Check 10. Clear the main track at the least pointed last name point. Check 11. Between blank and blank, make all movements at restricted speed limits are copied to the train engine. Check 12. Main and make all movements of the restricted speed stop and short of men and machines of following track. Check to see if it do not exceed the blank miles per hour between blank and blank. Do not check to see if blank and does not exceed blank miles per hour between blank and blank. 15. Proceed as prescribed by the Rule 99 and required. Check the track bulletins in effect for these spaces. Check other and specific instructions. OK to the OK from OK check and the dispatcher. Related copy copy to by blank. Limits for reported at all. Clear it all and by, and mark an X in each box as each time it is instructed. The track bulletins may be transmitted mechanically. The transmitted repetition will not be required. OK will be given in the transmitted name of the train dispatcher will be shown in the provided name of the copy of the personnel track warrant. Restriction authority movement of the train may not be sent in a manner unless it is known by the train, and restriction will not leave the point without receiving the track. The special instructions will prescribe how the warrants and the track bulletins are delivered at these points. For Rule 406, specific instruction track warrants will be included in the specific instructions which must comply by those of the type address. Each type of track warrant must be given in the same words as the all personnel address. Once in effect, the track warrant must be not be added and altered at any manner of time except for once in effect, the track warrant must not be added or altered in a main manner except for provided by Rule 411. Rule 407, change track warrant. When a track warrant is in effect and limits of instruction change, the new track warrant is issued by the instructions will include the track warrant number is voided in the track warrant, and on the previous voided the date is not must be included. The track warrant is no longer in effect. Track 408, operating the track warrant. Track warrant authorizes the track and engine and address occupy the main track and designated limits, and these track must not foul the switch either at the end of the points, which may be used in the opposing train and to the end or engine to the clear main track. Movement must be made as follows when blank bulletin when authorized to proceed with the 1 point under another is authorized only in the direction when authorized to work between two specific points, which movement may be in the direction of between those points. 409, occupying the same limits. No more than one of the train engine permitted to occupy the same overlapping limits of the track warrant at the same time, except for the following circumstances. All train engines in the limits have been authorized to move in the same direction or required to provide the flag protection as prescribed in Rule 99. Two or more crews before switching and working so the service has been notified on each of the instruction. All movements must be made on the restricted speed within the overlapping limits. 410, in the track warrant in effect with the crew member reports of the train crew limits of the warrant and the time limits expires, the crew member must report to the train dispatcher they have cleared the limits and the time limit is shown by the track warrant. The train engine must be clear of the time specified unless another track warrant has been obtained. For Rule 411, marking the void. When the word void must be written on legible across the copy of a track warrant to a track warrant. The crew member has been reported to the train or engine clear of the limits. The time limit specified has expired. The track warrant has been changed and prescribed in Rule 407. 412, protecting men and machines. The track warrant permitting men and machines to occupy performance maintenance of the on main track without protecting is issued on the same manner for the trains of the engines. The track warrant must not be issued, but the track warrant must not be issued, but to protect men or machine within the same overlapping limits of train or engine, except for the following circumstances. All train engines authorized to occupy the same overlapping limits have been authorized to move in one direction only, and the track warrant specifies and granted behind the such trains engines. The train engines authorized to occupy the overlapping limits have been notified authority to granted to the men and machines have been instructed to make all movements in restricted speed have been instructed to stop short of the men and machines of the following. The first change of the maintenance must not be so notified of the track warrant. If the track is not in safe movement of the restricted speed, personnel in charge and must protect the such track by placing the red flags according to Rule 10A. Rule 413, moving against the current traffic. When the traffic warrant authorizes moving against the current traffic of the train engine must use only the track designated within the limited speed specified. 40 track bulletins. Rules 450. Rule 450, track bulletins. When the track warrant TWC track warrant clear track warrant TWC territory, the territory designated special instruction bulletins issued by the train dispatcher. Required bulletins confirmation of all conditions after the safe movement of the train engines. When the track bulletin authorized the train engines must receive a track warrant with the initial station unless otherwise instructed by the train dispatcher. All track bulletins effect of the movement must be listed in the track warrant, and the conductor or engineer must have copies on all track bulletins listed. Each crew member must be read and understand the requirements of the track bulletin received by them in the FM 5520 FM 5520 and the prescribing directive of the track bulletin. 451, transmitting track bulletin. The track bulletin may be transmitted verbally, mechanically. The track bulletin has been transmitted verbally. Personal copying it must be repeated once from their copies. When the track bulletin has been repeated correctly, the train dispatcher will respond okay and then give the time and initials. The individual will show the space provided the okay time and his last train dispatcher's initials. Repeat and okay the train dispatcher. 452, retaining the track bulletin. The track bulletin must be retained a copy within all trains made by the tour of duty on which they have been received. 453, relieved from duration of the trip. The current conductor or engineer on the both are received before the completion of the trip of all track warrants. Track bulletins instruction ahead then must be delivered, relieving the conductor and engineer. If it cannot be personnel receive the crew, the mounted conductor will leave them within an envelope of location designated for the track dispatcher showing the correct destination, train date, location, conductor signature, envelope, track warrants, track bulletins, instruction pertaining to the information must be carried to relieving conductor engineer with the train dispatcher proceeding. 454, Rule 454, restriction of a crew member. A track bulletin and track warrant restriction of the train engine must not be transmitted to a track crew member until the conductor engineer assures the dispatcher of both the understand the order and can comply with the restriction. Rule 455, protection of track bulletin. During the time within the limits of the track bulletin, engineers must move the restricted and short time and machines following track and with a red flag placed on the right of the track movement of the most continue restricted speeds unless verbally instructed unless the entire train has been past the green light and have been cleared the limits. The engineer must attempt to contact the person in charge of the radio significantly advised to avoid delay in advising the location specification, grant verbal authority, use of form and name of gang number blank, and using track number blank line on number blank between PM and blank and PM on blank on subdivision. To authorize the train engine to pass the red flag to enter the limits without stopping using the words train must be past red flag located on the PM for the enters without stopping. A train engine must pass red flag when they enter limits without stopping. Continue be moved restricted must stop short men and equipment the following track. To authorize the train engine to proceed at speed greater than the restricted speed, use the word train may proceed with limits at blank of the PM maximum authorized speed the train may proceed to the limits prescribed unless otherwise restricted require the train engine must be speedless restricted speed unless restricted speed use of the word train to the proceed of the restricted speed not exceeding blank and miles per hour if not necessary until the MP blank. The train must not exceed the prescribed speed, must be prepared to stop sort of men or equipment following the track red flag of the right track. The instructions must be repeated to the engineer, okay to the person who have been before them or acted upon. When the word stop is written to stop on the column, the engineer must not enter the limits of the verbal authority if received from the person in charge. The yellow flags must be displayed as prescribed in Rule 10 in Chapter 2. Rule 456, excessive dimension equipment. When the excessive dimension of equipment is handled, the train dispatcher must issue the necessary instruction or range of the meeting of the passing of the train where there is enough clearance and issue additional precaution in the required crew handling equipment may ensure that it is clearly nearby objects including equipment adjacent tracks and unable to the point where the clearance is sufficient must be see that the protection provided the movements of on adjacent tracks the crew affected must be issued in the track bulletin advising the equipment train and the engine of which the handling is responsible for taking the properly precaution for the passing and the meeting of the equipment. 457 track blocks on equipment when a track sidings or other tracks which will normally clear the movement of the block. The equipment cannot be passed clearly. Train dispatcher will not be noted. The train dispatcher ensures that all the crew's personnel concerned are notified. The main track is blocked and protected provided by the prescribed Rule 99. 458 tracks removed from the service protection must be protection must be provided on tracks that is to be removed from service. The protection must be provided on a track bulletin designation and track in an exact point between which it is removed, such as the track must be not be used unless the track bulletin gives the name or title of the person who may authorize it and use it. When so indicated, movement may be only under in the direction authorizing use of the track required of the train dispatcher advise the crews of the alternate routes to be used in the position of the switches. Rule 459, changes of general order and special instruction. General orders or special instructions may be issued may be issued, changed, and canceled by a track bulletin. Any safety requirement which is a requirement and result of changing, canceling general orders or special instructions must be reinstated in track bulletin. General orders or special instructions which are canceled by the manner and reinstated in track bulletin. Track bulletin must not be delivered to all personnel affected until the cancellation is issued by the general order. The general order is posted. Rule 46, delivering track bulletins. Personnel receiving track bulletin must ensure all copies delivered unless the track bulletin is voided or transferred to the receiving personnel. When copies have been delivered in all addresses, the copy will be kept on file. Rule 46. 1. Rule 461. Additional copies of track bulletins, if necessary, for making additional track bulletins when duplicated, prescribed in Rule 462. The additional copies must be repeated for the train dispatcher corrective and ensured before the delivery. Train dispatcher records date, time, and place and name of the person who recopied and repeated the track bulletin. Rule 462. The duplication track repetition track bulletins. The train dispatcher will note that required within the reproduced duplication machine. When so duplicated, they must not be delivered or acted upon until they checked by the clear legible duplication in their entry. Chapter 7, Railroad Rules. Railroad Radio Rules.